based on the same technicality, if we're gonna rebid one, we should rebid both. Time frame be damned. I mean, if we're gonna keep it above board and fair, it's for the exact same reason. To go ahead and eat the other one because it's less money, and then rebid this one, I don't think is fair as well.
Right.
No, the analysis is that in both cases, you know, if I were just being strictly legal with the NRS, I would say just award the next responsive bidder, okay? Just like in the first one. And you could rebid the first one as well, but we probably took a protest because last time we were in that situation, we went ahead and we just rebid. And that was what we did. So there's some argument to rebid both, but it's not exactly fair to the next contractor because we disqualified them last time. So terrible legal advice, but it's just a fact. It's kind of unclear in the law. If you want to rebid both, rebid it, but there's already a motion to award the first. Kind of where we're at. Do what you want.
If I can say something here.
We'll send it.
There's a difference between the two projects. Ruth is cold. And what I'm worried about with Ruth is we won't get paid this year. That's the only difference. Other than that, I agree with you. Ruth concerns me because of the time. Because if we move this back another month, now we're into October, and who knows?
Right, I understand that's the issue, but I think in all fairness to our bidders, we need to be consistent. If we're gonna rebid one, we rebid both. If we're gonna accept both, then we accept the same status that we did in the first one and go with the second bidder. I'm fine either way, but I think we need to be consistent in either action. Yes, sir?
Shane?
Yes.
If you guys can hear me, I'm leaning towards just awarding the next responsive, because here's why. We can't rebid projects every time you have an unresponsive bidder. You just can't. It's not the right thing to do. That's my legal opinion. You can't just rebid because one of the people messed up. That's not fair to the other contractors, and that's probably not the standard in the business. You can rebid if the projects are outside of the budget. We don't have that in this case. So that's why we justified rebidding the last time. So I'm going to stick to the legal advice that you just award the next responsive.
That's what I would do.
And my statement would be the same as it was on the first one. This is $50,000 this time, and it's taxpayer money again. So the total amount between the two jobs is $64,000 in that neighborhood. $64,000 is a lot of money. And I understand, and I wholeheartedly give legal advice, and it's good legal advice. I understand the NRS part. I understand all that. But my question about the whole thing is simply dollars and cents, and what is the best for the taxpayer. It's $64,000. I think a second look at it is best for the taxpayer. But I understand the commission stance, and I think maybe a little discussion for just a second about how everybody feels about this, and get a motion and see what we're going to do real quick.
Real quick here. If you rebid it, you have no guarantee that the bids will be the same. That's the other thing you have to remember.
Right.
I mean, it may be. You might get the same bid. You might not. You don't know. You might not get any bids. I mean, I don't know. You don't know.
I mean, I agree with Richard, but I don't know. The legal's the legal, unfortunately, on this. So.
Okay. All right. Ian, do you have a response?
I'm feeling the same way Mike is. Unfortunately, I hate these dumb government technicalities, but it's fair to be consistent.
I think everyone has spoken, so right now I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the second bidder, which is Rec Brothers at $215,195. Do I have a motion for that?
Motion to approve Rec Brothers at $215,195.
Motion by Maureen.
Second.
Second by Ian. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Richard votes no. So motion passes 4-1. Bid is awarded to Rec Brothers. Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much, Mr. Day.
And there's that much difference, so it always concerns me.
Yeah, and this is why we're on board. It's fine. We made a decision. It's the government's board. Sorry, no public comment right now, Joe.
I was just going to ask Lori to pull that microphone closer.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I'm having trouble hearing people.
Sorry, and I think that this softens.
It does, unfortunately.
Yeah, my apologies.
Okay.
If we had a longer gooseneck, it'd be different.
We're gonna move on to same page 2, item 5, discussion for possible action, the approval of the minutes from the fire commission meeting held on July 8, 2020. Are there any additions, subtractions, or corrections? Anyone? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes of July 8th, 2020.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Ian. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Passed unanimous. Okay, the final item we have in the fire commission meeting is public comment. You can speak in public comment here. George?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, at numerous commission meetings, I've asked if the fire chief has had a chance to inspect any egress on Avenue B accessing Highway 93 near the new Holiday Inn. The road, again, is much too narrow to allow emergency vehicle access to, let alone a large fire truck or a ladder truck. Holiday Inn is a 3-story structure. City of Ely has failed miserably to address the issue. We're talking months now. There's no proper ADA access alongside the Van Camp junkyard. The curb should have been installed back another 6 feet to allow for a wider road. The county and the city of Ely need to hire engineers and inspectors that know what they're doing and abide by codes that have been adopted. Again, I'm asking, did the building inspector ever make it back from Eureka with his wife in the county city vehicle when they went to lunch? As I reported back to you in November 2019, is his wife and others authorized and insured to be in the government vehicle? We have to be consistent, Mr. Chairman, and it's not happening. You need to address that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Come in.
Hi there. First off, I want to say that I'm retiring at the end of the month, which y'all know, and appreciate your support. I think that this city-county contract we're in for fire and EMS services is working well. Hopefully it continues, and appreciate your support. Very appreciated, and hopefully it will continue on. Also, to let you know, we're working on a regional EMS protocols, so the county and city will be consistent. That's what we're doing. So they've been approved by the state, so now it's organizing the training for White County to utilize some of the drugs that are on board for advanced service.
Appreciate your service, Ross.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We could not have gotten where we are without you, so thank you very much and congratulations.
And the best of luck to you for whatever your future that you have in mind.
Nicole, would you
Thank you.
make an item to issue a thank you letter or congratulations, or however you want to put it. Thank you, Ross Rivera, for his actions.
Yes, I
as the
will.
Fire chief. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other public comment during the fire commission meeting? Hearing none, we're gonna move back into the regular county commission meeting, and Pete's here. So we're gonna go to page 4, under my 2A, and it's a discussion update from Senator Pete Gover. She just stepped out for a second. He'll be here, but I know he's got business to do. So
As soon as he comes.
he'll be out in a minute. So let's just move on to B under my name. It's approval to select a county commission representative for either option 1 or option 2 as a liaison position for the Nevada State Specific Advisory Board, NSAB. And what this board is more or less the nuclear waste. And we've always had a member on there, and I think we have a choice to be a full member, which means attending the meetings, or an option to be an alternate member, which means we get all the correspondence, but we wouldn't be on that. So I was on, Carol McKenzie was on there for quite a while, then I was on there for a year, and then we kind of stepped aside, and they asked us last year, we never took an action on it, but this is something that, does the board want to appoint a representative to the NSSAB? Am I right, Nicole?
Yep.
Okay, and that's kind of real quick. And again, the first option is become a full member, and that is to attend their meetings and to go that stuff. They're normally held all down in Las Vegas. Item B is to become like an alternate member, which means we get all the correspondence. And I guess if one of you is willing to maybe go to these meetings, they're held like once every 6 months. You travel at your own expense. There's no funding for attending. So if someone wants to say they'd like to go full-time, fine. If not, we can appoint one of us to be the alternate.
Sorry, that wasn't my mind.
Okay.
Time's up.
Does anybody have an opinion on what it is? Does somebody want to be on there full-time? Anybody?
I'd be curious to know if you're willing to share what, how you feel like, how valuable that was since you were involved, in terms of just how it relates to us as a county.
It's a large body of people, and you really, when you attend the meetings, you're there. It's like going to a large convention, you really know how to say something. And unless you're really up to date, you've had a test site and a nuclear waste, you're a body when you go to the meetings. And if you have some information you can pass on, that's great. But as far as when I was there, even with Carol went to a couple of meetings, I didn't. Because there really was nothing that was affecting White Pine County. It's kind of isolated to the test site. Now, we are on a lot of Southern Nevada boards, SNWA and that, but this particular one is more of a federal. So that was my opinion. So we really didn't get nothing out of it as far as paying to go down to the trips and going. Carol went a couple of times because she was already going to Vegas. And then she stepped aside.
There is travel reimbursement through this.
Oh, there is now? There wasn't when I was there, so there is travel reimbursement. I'm sorry, I spoke too soon.
One way or the other, I'd at least be interested in doing the liaison shift, the limited liaison. Option 2, I guess is one.
Okay. Ian has volunteered to do option 2. Is anybody else got a problem with that? If not, I'll make a motion to appoint Ian to the NSSAB board on option 2 as a liaison.
Move to approve.
Motion by Travis.
Second.
Second by Shane. Any further action? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? All those, okay, I just did that. And we're gonna go back, Pete just stepped back in. So we're going back to item A, is discussion update from Senator Pete Govishia on the 31st special session of the Nevada Legislature. Thanks, Pete, for coming.
Well, thank you all for being here. I'm going to drop this down a little bit. It should be distance enough to, I have a heck of a time talking through it. So, well, again, the 31st special session is behind us. We were running through the numbers, and you know, in the last 18 years in the legislature, this was my 13th special session. So they seem to be very common.
Not so special.
And after 13 days down there, I wish I could say we accomplished a lot more than we did. And I'm going to be completely frank, we never saw the governor in the building. I mean, that was probably the most drastic change. There are clearly some issues that are facing us. And we weren't invited to the Capitol, and he never came to the building. So it's pretty hard to work in that kind of a vacuum. So I guess I'm being a little bit critical, but I don't mind being critical at this point. That's what old age does for you. You can be critical. The session itself went fairly well. You know, we did manage to hold the line on taxes, especially I was very concerned about bringing forward a mining tax, and I'm not going to, we'll debate that in the next session, regular session, you know, whether they pay more, what it should look like, the mining tax. But the one that was proposed in the middle of the night, that wouldn't work. You know, how you can arbitrarily say, oh, we're going to do this, and okay, we'll put a $10 million cap on it with no real research into it. The bottom line was, Mike Fisher from Department of Minerals, actually, it would have impacted almost every mining operation, other than about 8 mines. You know, a couple of silica operations, diatomaceous earth. For the most part, it was going to impact everybody. There was no real thought put into it. I'm not going to say if you're generating $3 billion a year in profits, well, you can probably afford to pay a little bit more. But if, on the other side, it's something that's going to be a heavy lift, and we went through it a couple times before. It's hard to get it right. So I was very happy that we did manage to hold the line on taxes. The prepay, of course, local government isn't caught up in that. It will make no difference. And you know, I know when we went through that in the 09 session, 11 session, the true up is tough when all of a sudden you spent the money and then you know we're at $1,800 rock, and this economy improves in a couple of years, and all of a sudden we're at $1,400 gold. You end up having to true up, and that can be very, very hard on school districts, local governments. It's tough. So I'm glad it came through the way it did. They, you know, they will prepay to the state, but everybody else is the same. So, outside of that, we did manage to true up the budget a little bit. There was about $160 million in reductions. We're very fortunate that we've got Senator Kekeffer